This week, the podcast is released in memory of Johnny Johan and Moira Una Niorta, who drowned while swimming in Barna, County Galway last week. Johnny was a renowned musician, best known for writing The Voyage, popularised by Christy Moore, and Moira was a passionate Irish language advocate who'd been working at Fúram Coisadaga as an Irish language planning officer since August 2024. We wish the authorities every luck in recovering the second body, and if anyone would like to donate to the search effort, a link for the GoFundMe will be down below. Yes, J. Grau and Anamacha.
Hello, Tigwich. Welcome back to gCuimhne Weekly and episode number 76 this week. Fáilte Rash Chuig gCuimhne Weekly agus agrán iver seachtain sé an seachtain seo. Hope you guys are all doing well. Tásúlagam gohfuil sibh go léir ag déanamh go maith and that you've been enjoying the show over the last few weeks. Agus gohfuil sibh ag buint taitneamh as an show le cúpla seachtain anuas. I think it's been, 3 months or 4 months now we've been ceapam Nish le 3 anuas, no beidir 4 anuas. We've been putting out the third version of the podcast, the BHFAD Níos Simplí, Támid sa churmach on 3 lagan den fud creile on lagan I BHFAD Níos Simplí, the much easier version. And it's been going great so far. It gets more listens than the other two. So find sé níos mó éisteoirí agus streams ná an dátheangach eile. So yeah, really happy people are enjoying it. And as always, if you ever want to get in touch with me, Fios ásta go daoine ag buint taitneamh agus mar scanach má tá tú ag géirí a bheith ag dagháil, then you can do so over at the email liam.learnishisonline@gmail.com, liam.learnishisonline@gmail.com. All is good here in Seville. Tá gacrad go maith an seo I Seville. Had a good weekend, nothing too crazy going on. So bhí deir seachtain an deas agam, ein rud crachalsa, no roastach, nothing too weird or wonderful. But a good weekend and was up to a few different things which I'll talk about. So deir seachtain an deas agus bhí méid déanú cúpla rud difriúil agus ba mé ag labhairt faoi na rudí sin. So it's one of the first things, especially yesterday, Sunday, so gohairthe inné to Downey, that I've kind of been obsessed with or spending a lot of time on. My size gafa leis an rud seo agus ag caithfh alan ama air sin Jerry the Monk Hutch and everything going on with him at the moment. So Jerry the Monk Hutch agus gach rud siúil leis faoi láthair. For anyone who doesn't know, Jerry the Monk Hutch is a fairly famous figure or person in Ireland. Aint in a nachhfuil is agah Jerry the Monk an las animatága, the nickname that he has. Is duine sách cáúil in Éireann. He's a famous figure or a famous person in Ireland, or fairly famous at least. He was involved in some crime in Dublin in the 80s, so bhí sé pórtach Gcéadaoin sna huchtadí moille in Dublin. It's suspected, but it was never proved. So ní bhórthas ciontach riamh. He was never found guilty of being part of 2 of the biggest bank heists in the state, or in the history of the state. So gad in a robálacha banca is mó is dar na Héireann. Bhí sé sin, well, ceapan alán daoine gur sé pórtach. So a lot of people think he was participating or he was involved in that in some way. Níl is again in near tháinig sé amach nó mar dúirt mé ní bhórthas ciontach. He was never found guilty riamh. And then throughout the 90s and 2000s he was involved in various things. He had his own taxi company in Dublin, the Cholach Taxi aige moille, and he was often seen seemingly going around driving different celebrities and people and debutantes around Dublin in his big Hummer taxi. Bhí sé gcónaigh dul timpeall bhaile sa Hummer taxi seo nó with limousines agus bhí sé obair mar Humani taxi. He was working as a taxi driver. This is the famous image of him and Mike Tyson coming out of the taxi together. Tá an Eva cháúil sin de Hutch agus Mike Tyson ag teacht amach as an taxi le chéile. And of course the Hutches, his family, were heavily involved in the famous feud, the infamous feud with the Keanahans. So bhí na Hutches, clown, Jerry Hutch, pórtach agus ag trid agus I Gaeilge istócha in a kind of conflict with the Keanahans for many years. Gohairthe gabhfuil sa ceathirte, gabhfuil sa cúigteag, séideag, seachtaig, uchtteag, nídeag. So especially 2014, 15, 16, all the way up to about 2019 or about COVID. An nuirí Hui sé tríal I moille clia after they found him in the restaurant. The famous video of him being taken by the Guardia Civil, Spanish police, in a restaurant near Marbella. So, forhas chúpla bliain ó hin gábhíls fithe hain. Milan on sin ní Marbella ach áit dar bhreanam Fuengirola, so a place by the name of Fuengirola. I passed it a few weeks ago actually when I was in Marbella, so hui mé haar an áit sin cúpla seachtain ó hin. When I was in Marbella, is brought back to Ireland and he was trialled and found not guilty, found innocent. So for his neamhchontacha ten dúnmhar David Byrne ag on Regency Hotel, ag on Oslan Regency, so he's found not guilty of David Byrne at the Regency Hotel killing in, I believe, 2016. That's when the shooting was, and the trial was last year of an tríal Shúil an Uri. So a very prominent figure in Ireland, a very famous figure, and a very popular figure, especially in Dublin. Is duine anna chaúlagus tá an tóir Jerry Hutch in moille clia. You know, he's seen as a very charismatic person and someone who's done a lot of work in the community. So fector mar chuine le lán charisma agus duine éigen bhfuil a lán obaird sa bubble freshen in the community. Of course, a lot of people don't like him that much. They see him as possibly being involved in all the murders and all the gangland shootings that took place. So a lán daoine ceapan siad grá sesin, grá Jerry Byrne pórtach sna dúnmhairthe fád agus an méid sa bhí Shúil I gangland Ireland, the amount that was going on in gangland Ireland for many years, and still to some extent this day, although thankfully things are a lot quieter than they were. Buíoch le dia tar rudí a bhád níos ciúna ná mar a bhí siad. It's funny, I was thinking, you know, and all that was going on, I suppose I was doing my leaving cert and towards the end of secondary school, the start of college, bhí mise ag sa steire na meán scoile agus ag tosú amach leis an ollscoil. And ironically, I'm actually closer to a lot of the areas where things were going on now, living in Seville. Tá mé actually níos congri dá lánsa na áitina around the rudí sin Shúil inis agus mise Seville than when I was living in Ireland, because I lived in Galway and then college in Limerick. So bhí mé imachóní in Láiamh agus an sin ag an ollscoil Limnach. And obviously most of these things were going on in Dublin, or some things up in Northern Ireland as well. So bhí an rudí cosúla sin, much like gangland, agus na dúnmhairthe Friúla, the different murders, they were going on in Dublin and up in Northern Ireland as well. So a lot of them were also going on down in the south of Spain, an seo. So along to na dúnmhairthe sin bhí siad Shúil hí san seo in Eisceart na Spáine, not in Seville, but in Malaga province, in Fuengirola, in Estepona, Marbella, places on the Costa del Sol, áitina on Costa del Sol. Costa na Gréine, mar fá as Gaeilge, as you'd say in Irish. So basically, I haven't actually got to the story, like Strecu on scale hain. What is going on with Jerry Hutch? Well, the big news is in Ireland is that he is running for the Dáil. So tá sé seasamh le haon Dáil agus chun siochan all sa Dáil in the general election we have next week. So Ulf Hauchan atá agin an seachtain se hugan. And it's funny, with some of the media, le cuids to the meán is scale mór it's a big story. Cuidzelas in the meán ní scale mór a churbe. It's not a big story with the other part of the media, so I think some want to report on it, some don't. But for me, Dumsa, this will become over the next week or so, in between now and the election, the biggest story in the election. Dumsa, in my hirmse, ceapim gan roiise seo, mar an scéalas mó sa Tagann, because I think most people know what the results of the election roughly will be. Tá is like a lán daoine, nó chuid is mó to dhaoine, what results we'll have, cén tura a bhaith agin, and what parties will probably be in government, cén pórsaithe a bhaith sa réaltas. And so this, I think, will become a huge story because he's got a serious chance at getting a seat. Tá chance dair, like chance ceart aige chun siochan all sa Dáil, which is kind of crazy. Tá sé crachalsa. Like, listen, I don't want to comment in terms of whether I feel good about that or bad about that. Ní mé géirí trách the horts madser le an mohiam gama faoi sin, no go donna faoi sin. And to be honest, I'm not sure how I feel. Níl sagam cinchui a bhohiam faoi sin. But he's got a serious chance, and this man who was in a Spanish jail only 2 weeks ago on Fair Show, agus bhí sé I brisún sa Spáin cúpla seachtain ó hin, and he's still, I think, under investigation. Post tá sé mar chuid fistrachán sa Spáin. He's still part of an investigation in Spain here for money laundering, and will have to go back and face trial or face something first. Ceapam go mai well, teach the rash, come back rather than go back, since I'm here in Spain. Mariel gCuimhne sa Spáin as I'm recording. Agus Misha ag tafadú. He'll have to come back here and face trial at some stage, but he might well be coming back and facing trial as a TD. Seans amach go mai sé ag teach the rash agus ag seasamh, sa chóirt mar cheachta dála as a TD, as a member of Dáil na hÉireann. So I'm really interested in kind of, it's, I suppose, for me, domsa is dóilm. When I get interested in one thing, there are iron gafan no tócha le rud amháin, I really go deep into it and kind of start reading all the background to it and listening to a lot of stuff. So tusnim ag léamh when gúlra agus gachar ag buint leis agus gachar the modsir leis an scale é féin. And it's so interesting going back through all the stuff, because I never, when I was at school, never misha school and all this going on, and then at university agus here in old school, I wasn't paying any attention to the gangland stuff in Ireland and the Kinahans and the Hutches. Ní me ag tuairt aon ords bit like chadaví ag tarlú. And it's only now going back and thinking, wow, that was all happening just a few hours down the road from me. We gachrad timppla sin siúil just cúpla or she's an bóthir. Well, it's unbelievable, really. And I find it really interesting. I mean, I know it's dark. And there might be people listening to this in Dublin, for example. Seann go daoine géiste cluise in moille, and they're thinking, this isn't something you should be bringing up. Maybe you're speaking about in this manner. Seann, ní rud é seo chuirte sa bheith ag labhairt faoi, nó chuirte sa bheith ag caint faoi slí seo. But I'm not glorifying any part of it, and obviously, it's horrible if you live near this, and if you live in areas in Dublin where this was going on, tá sé go chuúfásach más rud é gur áitiú with a chonaí an átainna ará sé seo siúil. And if you were impacted by this, más rud é gur áit suncar ag seo ar the hail. But there's no denying it is interesting and is captivating. Tá sé simul agus mealtach lí, kind of captivating or enticing in a way. And going back and listening to so many different podcasts about it, and listening to an audiobook about it, about Jerry the Muncutch himself, to my géiste le Laura Fuma inis faoi Jared Hutch agus gachar da Harla slim blinta sin idir Gavil's Cuigjaig agus Gavila is a fiha beidir 2015 or 2014 rather, up until about 2020, 2019, or hussy ruddy ag Arinis Far, when things started to get better. And it is really interesting. And it's interesting as humans, tá sé simul mar gCuimhne, like how we are drawn towards something like that. So tá sé simul conas atá an rudsa an rud intach durcha seo, this kind of horribly dark thing, that it has that effect on us. Go an chunkar sin ega urinja. And that we are kind of, not everyone, but a lot of people are kind of drawn to it and interested in the stories around it and the sensationalism around it. Just though na scéalta agus an rúla búlia timppla. And Terry Hutch, obviously, throughout his life, hasn't done many interviews. He's done effectively none, apart from one with RTE in 2008. So ní léon aglah really déanta ag Terry Hutch ar churbe seachas Ceann amháin le RTE Radio Television Éireann I Gabhíle is a hooked in 2008. And basically this week, he's such a kind of secretive figure. Then other Rún Erchley for a lot of years when he was in Dublin and Lanzarote, where he lives as well. So nervy session from the Blinta, nervy session in a choni in moille agus Lanzarote, mar tá teach ega an sin freshen. He had to wear a complete disguise and you would never notice him via size disguise of ega, and he grew his hair very long. Dog say a chud grúga on a other fad, looks like a completely different man when he walks out of court. The Special Criminal Court last year, so we come a go humlan zifriler agus session ag siúlamach as on courts on Special Criminal Court and mi Ibron Gavil is 3, so April 2023. And now he's out there in the open, doesn't have to wear a disguise or anything like that. In disguise of ega. And he's done an interview this week. He's done a full podcast, a 3-part podcast actually. Put Creile, it's 3 chuds Yearfruil. And he's on a podcast called Crime World. The numbers the podcasts have gotten it's incredible. Tá sé dul chreidse an méid éistrí atá ag an budcréile seo agus an show seo with Jerry Hutchana, because again, this famous figure, this man of mystery, for years has never done an interview. Le blinta ní léon aglah déantaige. A lot of people barely know what his voice even sounds like. And now he is on this podcast. I think he spoke for almost 2 hours or an hour and a half on it. Anyway, bhí sé leabhart an budcréile seo ar feadh dhá uair le. It's called Crime World, the podcast with Nicola Talent. Really good podcast in general. Agus, Gominic being she glowers for Hutch. Often they're speaking about Hutch and different things going on with him and investigations. And yeah, listening to him on it, a real interesting listen. So put Carla on a similar fad. And it's going to be really interesting to see what develops with this. I know I don't normally talk about politics. I'm not really giving any opinions on politics here because it's not worth it. And if you hunain Turmi o Horts an bulletíocht in my hearimse, in my opinion. But it is interesting, and RTE and the rest, I suppose a lot of the mainstream media an príomh meán níl siad ag scríomh faoi seo agus níl siad ag géirí aon rud a rá faoi. Níl is agam cin fá, I don't know why, but places like the Irish Independent and the Sunday World writing a lot about shots na cosúla Sunday World agus an Irish Independent ag scríomh a lán rudaí faoi. And it's interesting because it's going to develop and he has got a lot of popularity and he has got a chance of getting a seat. Tá lán tóir an bhar seo agus tá chance like réadú, like a realistic chance on Siachan all. So we could be looking at a man who many believe to be one of Ireland's biggest criminals. Ceapan a lán daoine grey deir them on cuts Ceann in a churpig ismó in Éireann, although he hasn't had a conviction since I think the 1980s. Cé nach bhfuil ciontu aige ó na hochtatí ceapan the 80s, and he could be one of the 160 TDs in Dáil Éireann. Chance go mai sesin an sin ag seasamh sa Dáil mar cheann na TDs na teachtaí Dálaí ná na hÉireann in the Irish Dáil, the Irish Parliament, the executive, whatever it's called. It's not the executive, that's the Seanad. Anyway, not a politics podcast ní podcréile Politúil is seo, but I'd highly recommend listening to his interview. I'd highly recommend listening to that podcast, Crime World with Nicola Talent, and the 3-part interview with Jerry Hutch. So bhfuil him go mór éisteach leis an podcréile sin, an podcréile le Jerry de Moncutch Crime World le Nicola Talent. So yeah, I've been speaking about more serious stuff the last few weeks. The my Glartry ruddy níos daire le cúpla seachtain in news. I've never wanted to make it a real serious podcast. Near Marie Vigiri Kamek on show no on podcréile seo ro chaire, because I know people are sick of the other stuff and their lives being too serious. Tá lán daoine tá si tín tuirseach as na rudí eile in a saolana a go see the ro chaire that they're too serious, and when people are learning Irish or practicing Irish, they want to be able to listen to something more enjoyable, lighter maybe. Touch the Gary the Cluradagan. Basically, yeah, ní séidir man nach bhfuil cómh dá éire, but at the same time, people are interested in this stuff as well. So I just literally switch on the mic on a Monday morning and I speak about whatever kind of comes to mind and whatever interests me. So being me a chur mic siúil madsan séún agus just thustaí me leabhart faoi péród tá simú dumsa. And that's really it, because if I was speaking about stuff I didn't know about, most rud ag me leabhart faoi rudí nach bhfuil mór an ólas agam arthú. No beidir rudí nach bhfuil sim agam antú, or maybe things that I'm not interested in. Well, that it wouldn't be very good. Say on a wa. So yeah, apart from that, the weekend was good. Apart from Jerry the Moncutch and going through his life and career, on Saturday I was at a cool event here in Seville. Actually, on Saturn we make imacht so cool and so Seville by the name of Jameson Connects. So Jameson Connects on Tanam of a year. Basically, I've probably talked about this on the show before, Chance Mag Garame ag leabhart faoi seo on show Riva, but if you live in Seville and you're coming from Ireland, the US, the UK, mas rud é ghfuil tú the chónaí is Seville agus tá tú ag teacht ó beidir an ríocht aontaithe, Éire, na Stát aontaithe, áitina cosúla sin, places like that. There's not really many jobs here apart from teaching English. Níl mór an puist an sod that seachas má tá tú sásta a bheith gobar mar bhúnsúr béarla, apart from if you're happy to work as an English teacher. So, on the Gaelic football team here, for example, or for an Tagann Gaeilge beidir gohfuil chuige fan géad, beidir níos mó, about 50%, if not more, of the players tá si di gobar scolanna no acadéimh or academies, and they're teaching English. Tá si ag múnú verla. But I do know one or two people who have been, because the thing is, like matatu in Barcelona, matatu in Valencia, matatu in Malaga, if you're in any of those places, there are way more different types of jobs. So wad níos mó pushed Jeffrula. Jobs in sales and marketing, and more things business related, agus níos mó rudí pointsa leis an ghnó. But here there's not that. There's not as much of an international community, and there's not as much, it's not as rich a city ní Chahar Cove Severy really in that era. So it's mainly just teaching English. If you come here from somewhere else and you don't have Spanish as your first language, man will on Spanish agat mar the gCéadaoin. Or obviously if you have a gig like mine, ma tá gig agat no post agat cosúil let ma fostain, where you're doing something online, doing something remote, ma tá tú ag déanú rud éigean ar líne, then great, that's fine. Ionach sin ceart galore. That's really the perfect situation for most people sin. An rud is far, no rud fearfa lai a lán daoine. So one of my friends who does have a job that's a bit different, so Ceann to Machorza, agus tá postaiga tá beagnaíonn tifriúil, he works for Jameson, the whiskey. So tá sesin ag obair le Jameson on Ishkabaha, and basically Jameson have an ambassador in a lot of different cities across the world. Tá ambassador, an brand ambassador. So ambassador branda ag Jameson in lán chathracha iafriúla fud an down. A lot of different cities around the world. So tá Ceann acu in Malaga, they have one in Malaga, they have one here. Ceann acu in seo, they might have one in Berlin. Beidir goil Ceann acu in Berlin, they might have one in Bangkok, wherever. Tá an ambassador ag difriúla acu fud an down around the world. And so he works here as the sole and the only Jameson ambassador for Seville. So tá sesin ag obair an seo mar an tain ambassador Jameson is Seville. And they organise this cool event in Seville every year. It's a big party, kind of a festival thing almost for one day or one evening. So tá sé beag cosúla feist, no. Rud éigean ulmhór cosúla sin, no kosher, really, a party. Every November, around the middle of November, so timpeall ar lór, hí na sauna, gach bliain, we were at it last year, hí ega an and we're at it again this weekend, and I have to say it was really, really cool. So hí ega ríis an tíir seachtain seo. Agus gCuimhne rá, gCuimhne adbháil, I have to admit, it was really, really good. Well, I don't have to admit, because I'm proud to say it, it's always good. Ní gCuimhne ein rud adbháil mar I gcónaí bíonn sé on the wall. But it's basically, you know, obviously you go to these things and they have a DJ and bands. When they thought DJs acu, agus Bonnie Ceol, agus gach rud eile mar sin, everything else like that. But Jameson really do a good job in like adding really random stuff. So current Jameson like a long ruddy randomacha. Isach freshen. For example, there's a barber's there, so tatuan on bar gruga all you can get a haircut if you want, as well as like a clothes shop, a vintage clothes shop inside of the party. So the shoppa le 80 vintage tivas jin kosher. What else was there this year? There's food trucks, you get tacos and different things. So the trucky bia, agus is feish that tacos, agus ruddy marshin all. It's really cool, just different, you know, than just a normal standard party or normal night out. It's different loads of gná. Amach no gná, tíir seachtain gná kosher. And often, you know, even it wasn't in a club, it was outside, near say a club fish even way, but even when you go to clubs or bars, often they can all feel very similar, you know, tá chuma anna an a chéine a lán cín acu. So it was really cool to go to that. It is on from 6 until 1 a.m. I think on Saturday. So we share shul o sé chlog, could see a chéine chlog Madsen an Saturn. And it was just nice. I've been looking forward to it for a while because it was really good last year. So we make tunu go more or less for Tamil mar Vishanawa and there. It's really good last year and already looking forward to the one next year if I'm still here, but I think I will be. So Hannah Fain ag tanu go more leis an Ceann an bhlín seogan. Má tá mé fós an seo ach ceapam go maiime. So that was really cool. On Friday I had a few friends over to the house, just 3 or 4 friends. We trúr no chachar chord sagam ag an sac and we watched the Ireland's rugby match. We music vacants an cluiche rugby in Argentina. I have no real interest in rugby. Níl sim agam really rugby, but some of them do. Cuid acu tá sim acu. to rugby, and Ireland's won, I think, by 3 points in the end. Vui le 3 points. So Jara, I wasn't paying too much attention to it really. Near me, it towards the number of words, though really in the era. That was cool. Nice to have a few friends over and just do something chill on a Friday. We should just on Rud and chilly, you know. Iranina, you know, sometimes it feels like with the weekends, on a Friday night or Saturday night, you either have to go out and have a big party, do dull amach agus kosher war of agat, or you have to sit in by yourself and do nothing, do see a stock agus tada yenov. And I like those plans that are somewhere in between the two. Go in the cinema with someone. Not that I've done that for years, so I go see a picture on let in again. It's just in Jane Tagann Gaeilge, but something like that's cool. Or yeah, to have a friend or two over, watch something on the telly, chorda, no carno, rurts of agat, egan gach, agus fécin, sure rud egan, or an television, something kind of in between the two is pretty cool. Rud egan itcher on dátheangach, that's a sock. Cool. So that was really it. All good here in Seville. Crazy to think how little time is left in the year. That's a do chredsa hun smuinov kick of biog, agus atá an chuids eile and lean atá fák agin, you know, in what 5 weeks it'll be Christmas. He was said a seachtain in nGaeilge actually ceapam. Lá nulg a it'll be Christmas Day. In 6 weeks it'll already be 2025. In 4 weeks the days will be getting longer again. He was said a seachtain or seachtain. By leighta agari nís fuidsa arish, so things are changing and almost at the end of the year. So crazy how fast it goes, but then again it never goes slow. Ní say reeve Shockas Pager Gavi is apart from maybe 2020 and 2021 for obvious reasons. Akshanay guys capim lahai on seachtain show. That is it this week. Big thank you as always for listening. Mille buchas as a ag éisteacht agus hallam féin to make tudug more. The Lawrence live on seachtain show, and already look forward to speaking to you guys next week. Mille buchas slán agus bannacht.